Welcome back, everyone. It is Miss Wagers, and we are going to work on lesson 12 today, and we are going to continue reading Max Malone Makes a Million. Give me that money, right? Everyone's a little bit of money, 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 money. Did Miss Lawson already do that? Did I copy her? I don't know. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we are learning to use text evidence so that way we can describe the characters and events in the story. So again, you know, Miss Wagers always talks about text evidence. You really want to make sure you look back from the reading to talk about the characters and the events. So we know we are successful when we can refer to the text to answer a question, describe the characters in the story, and describe events in the story. So we're going to keep it pretty simple today. Hopefully this will be a pretty smooth lesson for you. For our foundational skills, we have words from German. And did you know, we've talked about this before, you can find out the source of a word by looking it up in the dictionary. So we have like the word glitz here. Well, the glitz and the glamour. And so glitz, you can see when we look it up, that it means extravagant showiness. So we can see that from there. And if we continued on, we could find out that glitz comes from German. So right here, it tells me the history and etymology. So basically it says it's a noun. And what we're looking at here is perhaps a modification of the German word glitzern to glitter, or Middle or High German, glitzen, and so on. But it tells you what country or where the word came from. So we can see that glitz came from German. So we're going to practice this a couple of times. All right, ready? Let's go. So we're going to work on the word kindergarten and the word folk, because these words both come from German. So let's go to our good friend, the Google machine. So I'm going to type in kindergarten and the word definition. All right. Now it doesn't tell me yet, but I'm going to click translations and more definitions and the origin. Okay, so we have German. Ding, 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 ding. So kindergarten, we know, is a grade in school that you have already been through. So kindergarten, we can see it already tells us the definition, a school or class that prepares children for first grade. And then it tells us it comes from German, the German word kindergarten, or the children's garden. So there we go. Now we're going to try the word folk. That was our other one. So I'm going to type in folk. Okay, we want the definition of that one. Let's see what we get. So again, it gives me the definition. So it means people in general. So I say, you folks over here, or it says some folk will do anything for money. Well, Max Malone, he's a folk that might do anything for money. He wants to make $1 million, right? Again, here we go. Germanic, which means German. So again, the word folk comes from German. So you can find that by when you look up a word on Google, you just got to click the more, and then it'll tell you where it came from. So let's get back over here. So for your foundational skills lesson today, you need to use an online dictionary to determine the meaning of a word, and then use each word in a sentence. So like we had the word kindergarten, you can say, I went to kindergarten when I was 5. That would be a sentence. Or folk, the folks on the school committee at Greg Kenton's school said that he was allowed to sell comic books in the school store. Something like that. You can come up with a sentence to go along with each of these words, but you are going to have to look them up in the online dictionary so that way you know their meaning. For our vocabulary today, we do have the word charged, and charged means to postpone payment for something that by recording it as a debt. So I have this picture of a credit card here because actually what happens with the credit card is you're not paying for something right away. You are paying for it later. You're charged for it and then you have to make payments on it later. And then we have the word insulted. And that's to speak to or treat someone with disrespect. So I feel insulted, right? If someone is not being respectful to you. And so we have the sign no bullying, because if someone's insulting you, that could be a form of bullying, right? So we're going to go ahead and get started with our reading. We have the chapter called Big Business. What do we know how to do? Gordy asked Max. Nothing, Max answered. They were resting on Max's front steps after cleaning up Mrs. Malone's kitchen. Max was trying to figure out where he had gone wrong and where Anthony Baker had gone right. Maybe Anthony Baker had an older stove or a better recipe. We better think of something fast, said Gordy. Vacation is over in 2 weeks. Max sighed deeply. Then he shut his eyes and tried to think of something he knew how to do. Something he knew about. He knew about garage sales. One of his favorite things to do was buy lots of great junk at Mrs. Filbert's garage sales. Mrs. Filbert was Max's neighbor. Max and Gordy could have a garage sale. The problem was, Max didn't have a garage. Neither did Gordy. The door swung open and out came Mrs. Malone with 2 glasses of lemonade. Here, boys, I think you can use this. Hey, thanks, said Max and Gordy, taking the glasses from her. They gulped down their drinks. Boy, this lemonade hits the spot, said Gordy. Lemonade, shouted Max, jumping to his feet. That's it. We can make our millions in lemonade. Are you kidding? We tried to sell stuff lots of times. Rosalie drank most of it. She charged it and never paid us back. We didn't get a single penny. Remember, charged means that she didn't actually pay for it. She said that she would basically gave them an IOU and said, I'll pay you later. We weren't running a real business before, said Max. We were just fooling around. Besides, do you have any better ideas? No, answered Gordy. Then we'll sell lemonade, said Max. It's easy to make and it's cheap. He could just picture it. First, they would sell lemonade from a stand, and when they became real successful, they would go on to a big business. They could sell frozen lemonade in a supermarket or fresh in cartons. The next day, Max and Gordy set up their lemonade stand in the park. Max had a pitcher filled with lemonade made from fresh lemons. He had added sugar little by little until he got the taste just right. He topped it all off with ice cubes. Gordy brought a small folding table, 2 chairs, and paper cups. They hung a sign from the table. It read, Lemonade, 25 cents. Business should be real good, said Max. It's going to be a hot day. They sat down at the table. They tried to look very businesslike while they waited for their first customer. So let's stop and think, y'all. How did Max come up with the idea to open a lemonade stand? Were you listening with attention? So let's see. What happened? Well, remember that Mrs. Malone brought them out a couple glasses of lemonade because she said, I think you need that. And then they realized, oh, duh, I can have a lemonade stand, right? All right, let's keep reading. Soon their first customer was walking toward them. It was Rosalie. I'd like to try some of your lemonade, she said. That'll be 25 cents, said Max. Charge it, said Rosalie. Cash only, said Max. Rosalie hesitated for a moment. Then she dug into her pocket and came up with a quarter. She plunked it down on the table. Max and Gordy exchanged smiles. They were proud of how businesslike they were acting. Max poured some lemonade into a cup and watched her drink it. Just as I thought, she said. It isn't sweet enough. She turned to leave. Maybe I'll bring you some more sugar later. What Max and Gordy needed were more customers. At this rate, Max's mother would be selling memo pads forever. The park is so empty today, said Max. Probably because of the heat, said Gordy. I sure am thirsty, said Max. Me too, said Gordy. I've been thinking, said Max, maybe we should taste the lemonade again to see if Rosalie is right about the sugar. Good idea, said Gordy. We don't want to sell sour lemonade. Each poured himself a cup and drank it down in one gulp. It's sweet enough for me, said Max. Plenty sweet, said Gordy. Let's try a little more, just to be sure. So let's stop. Max thought business should be real good. He said so on this last page. He said business should be real good. It's going to be a hot day. But was it? And why? So stop, pause the video, and think. Was business good and why? Right, so he thought business was going to be good because of how hot it was. But actually, it turned out that since it was so hot, that the park was pretty much empty. No one wanted to hang out outside. So business actually is not going well for them. It said they need more customers, remember? So it says right here, what Max and Gordy needed were more customers. So there, you see I'm using text evidence to answer the question. And then it had also said the park is so empty today. So that tells me that they don't have a lot of people to be customers. After the second cup, they waited for more customers. The sun was beating down on them. The ice cubes were beginning to melt. They poured themselves some more lemonade. It's only right that we taste it again, said Max, to see if the melted ice cubes affect the flavor. They drank the lemonade and decided that it was still sweet enough. Then they waited some more. Finally, 3 small boys followed by their mother, ran into the park. At last, said Mark. This is it, said Gordy. Hey, lemonade! the oldest boy shouted. Yay, lemonade! Shouted the younger ones, and all three ran towards Max and Gordy. An easy 75 cents, said Max. Maybe even $1, said Gordy when he saw their mother coming after her sons. We want lemonade, the boys told their mother. Not now, she said. But we're thirsty. We don't know what's in it, she whispered and led them away. Max and Gordy were angry and insulted. Remember, so insult is like when their feelings are hurt, right? What does she think is in here anyway? Asked Max. Yeah, said Gordy. Poison? They poured themselves some more lemonade and drank it. They wanted the mother to see them drinking it. She would see that it wasn't poisoned. Besides, they were thirsty and hot, and the ice cubes had melted completely. This tastes like sour water, said Max. Yeah, said Gordy. Warm sour water. It's definitely not quality. It needs more sugar, said Max. By the time Rosalie came back with some sugar, Max and Gordy were ready to leave. How is business? Asked Rosalie. Slow, said Max. Too bad, said Rosalie. Austin is making a fortune. Austin is selling lemonade? Asked Max. Yes, 2 kinds. One made with sugar and one made with sweet and low. Remember when we saw those men chopping up that sidewalk on Friday? She began adding the sugar to the lemonade. Yeah, said Max, in front of the post office. Well, today they're pouring cement in for the new sidewalk, and that's where Austin is. She sat down at the table and little by little drank up the rest of the lemonade. They took apart the stand and dropped everything off at Max's house. Then they hurried over to the post office. Sure enough, there was Austin selling lemonade to 3 construction workers who were standing in line. 2 ladies coming out of the post office stood behind them to buy lemonade from that cute little boy. Max and Gordy exchanged angry glances. This was definitely not fair. Making $1 million was Max's ideas, not Austin. Hi guys, Austin called when his customers left. Want a drink? We're not thirsty, said Max. He could still taste the warm lemonade, which was starting to rise up in his throat. He probably wouldn't touch the stuff for the rest of the summer. How's business? Asked Max. He knew the answer even before Austin gave it. It's great. I figured I'd get some practice on my own before I'm old enough to join up with you. He poured himself a cup of water and drank it down. What's the matter, Austin? Asked Gordy. Don't trust your lemonade? I don't want to drink up all my profits, Austin answered. When I'm thirsty, I drink the water, and I sell the lemonade. Max watched the people walking in and out of the post office. He watched the construction workers wiping sweat off their faces. So many people, so many thirsty people. Why hadn't he thought to come here? You picked a pretty good spot for your to set up your stand, said Max. He hated to admit it, but it was true. Yeah, said Austin. I knew these men would be here today. I knew they'd be thirsty. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. You've got to know your market, know your customers. Too bad they won't be here tomorrow. I'll have to figure something else out to do. Max watched Austin empty a cup of money into his pockets. He could see the quarters, nickels, and dimes pouring out of the cup. He even saw a dollar bill. Boy, making $1 million sure is fun, said Austin. I can't wait until tomorrow. So that is where we are going to stop reading today. So I do want you to remember with our characters that throughout the story, the main characters can experience a variety of moods. So the author will choose specific words to help establish or show you what mood our characters are in. So we're going to look back in our story and we're going to see where some of our characters are upset, excited, insulted, or angry, or even jealous. And we're going to use text evidence to do that. So when we look here and we're looking at the text, we can see when Max sighs deeply, says Max sighed deeply, then he shut his eyes, trying to think of something he knew how to do. What could he be thinking when he does that? Or feeling. He's feeling upset. When he sighs deeply, he's like, like he's trying to figure out something that he can do to make $1 million. And, his last experiment of trying to make the cookies had went poorly. And then let's see, what else? Oh, did you see right here? Lemonade, shouted Max, jumping to his feet. That's it. We'll make millions in lemonade. But notice how the author said shouted. It is not like he just said or he muttered it. He shouted it. He's excited. And the author also uses this exclamation mark after lemonade to show that Max is excited. And then, like I said, he's jumping to his feet. And that shows us even more how excited Max is. So he shouted that and he's jumping to his feet. So those are ways that we now know that Max is excited. So he's gone from upset and now he's excited. And now let's see what other moods he could be in. So again, let's look. We're looking for words that show his mood. Oh, I see, right here. The author this time literally says Max and Gordy were angry and insulted. So the author is being very clear with us that they are angry about how this is going when the mother says that we don't know what's in that lemonade. What does she think is in here anyway? So right there, we can kind of start to see that Max is getting annoyed or irritated. He's upset because he is being kind of sarcastic and kind of standoffish, like he's been, like it says, insulted. So I can add that to our chart as well. He's angry and insulted. And then what does she think is in here anyway? Like you almost can't read that without putting some, without saying it with expression or feeling. What does she think is in here anyway? Ugh. And then lastly, let's find out where they're jealous. Where do we see some words where they are jealous? Say, pause the video and see if you can find it. All right, let's see if you found it. Right there, they exchanged angry glances. So that one could show that they're angry, but also they said this is definitely not fair. When people say, oh, that's not fair, that's showing jealousy. Making $1 million was Max's idea, not Austin's. So it's not fair. Making it $1 million was Max's idea, not Austin's. And I did put angry glances in this insulted angry category for you. So right here, you can see all the different ways that our author is showing the moods of our characters. Are they upset? Are they excited? Insulted? Jealous? So let's go back to our learning intentions. Today, we are learning to use text evidence so that way we can describe characters and events. We needed to refer to text when we answer a question. We did that during our story. And also we referred to the text to look at our characters' moods. Check. Describe characters in the story. So today we focused on our characters' moods and how they were feeling and what words the author used to show that. Check. And then we also looked at some of the events in the story as we were reading, thinking about why did they choose to open a lemonade stand and how business was going. Check. So moving on to your reading response for today. What did Max and Gordy learn from Austin on page 93? And I will include page 93 for you on your reading response, so that way you can look back over that. All right, that is all for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another, do all of your work, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.